Catherine Zeta Jones' teenage daughter has revealed the troubling reason she was bullied. Famous actress Catherine Zeta Jones had a daughter with equally famous actor Douglas in 2003. Now, Carys, their second child, is now old enough to be giving interviews and talking about her life. She and her mother recently chatted to Town and Country magazine, and Carys made a revelation that might be a surprise to some. Her parents are wealthy, talented and famous, but she still got picked on at school. Carys takes after her mother in terms of both looks and talent. And should she want to pursue a career in Hollywood, that can only be a good thing. Catherine Zeta Jones is noted for both her acting ability. She won an Oscar for her performance in the 2002 musical Chicago, and for her spectacular beauty. However, Zeta Jones didn't come from riches, like her daughter now does. She grew up in a working-class Welsh family. Her father had a sweet factory and her mother was a seamstress. It was only thanks to her parents winning £100,000 at a bingo game that they were able to pay for her dance classes. Zeta Jones loved to perform, and she was good at it. As a child, she played one of the orphans in a West End production of Annie, and later the title character. When she turned 15, she decided to pursue acting full-time. She dropped out of school without taking her final exams, moved to London, and started going to auditions. Her big break came in 1991 when she was cast as Marriott in the 50s set British TV show The Darling Buds of May. The show was a success beyond all imagining, filling a gap in the market for more wholesome, family-friendly programming. And almost overnight, Zeta Jones became a big star in her native country. Literally, with 1 hour of television my life completely changed, Zeta Jones told USA Weekend in 2004. I couldn't go anywhere. She decided to move to Los Angeles and have a go at breaking America. It proved to be a good decision. Big names such as Steven Spielberg eventually took notice of her, and she was cast in 1998's The Mask of Zorro. The Mask of Zorro was a hit, and Zeta Jones ended up winning a MTV Movie Award for Best Breakthrough Performance. Suddenly, the world was at her feet. And it was also in 1998 that Zeta Jones met her future husband, Douglas. They were introduced by their fellow actor Danny DeVito at the Deauville Film Festival in August of that year. When she first met Douglas, he was divorced from his first wife, Deandra Luker, with whom he'd had a son named Cameron. But he was extremely interested in Zeta Jones. And in 2007 the actress revealed to Parade magazine what her husband-to-be had said to her the night they met. It was, "I want to father your children." Months later, we were dating, and I was already in love with him, Zeta Jones informed Parade. It's not unusual at all for two famous celebrities to strike up a relationship. What was unusual, though, and much commented on by the media, was the age difference between Zeta Jones and Douglas. He was 25 years older than her. Douglas comes from a famous acting family. His father is Kirk Douglas, a star of the golden age of movie making. He starred in Spartacus and Paths of Glory, among many others. And Douglas's mother was Diana Dill, of the soap opera Days of Our Lives. When Zeta Jones and Douglas got married in 2000, the media interest was intense. The bride and groom banned all press from the event except OK! Magazine, the only publication allowed to take pictures. And there was a very special guest at the wedding. The couple's first child, Dylan, had been born just a few months prior. Zeta Jones had always been adamant that she would have children one day, with or without Douglas, if it ever came to that. She had brought it up with him before they married, she told Parade. There was one thing I had to be sure of, she revealed. I turned to him and said, "Do you really want children?" And I thought for that 1 minute, he was going to say, "I already have a son, Cameron, and I would have to say goodbye," Zeta Jones went on. But everything turned out all right. I remember saying defiantly, "I cannot live without having children." And he went, "Me too." After the excitement of the wedding, Douglas and Zeta Jones forsook the traditional exotic honeymoon and instead concentrated on their son. And a few years later, they were able to give Dylan the gift of a sister. This was Carys Zeta-Douglas, born on April 23, 2003. Her name derives from Carew, the Welsh word for love. Carys was born just a month after her mother won Best Supporting Actress for Chicago. There was plenty of interest in her birth, and in her future. Carys enters a world destined to be defined by wealth and fame, and joins an illustrious Oscar-winning lineup of Douglas talent, the BBC noted at the time. As the Zeta-Douglas children grew up, their parents took steps to protect them from that world. Dylan and Carys spent most of their time in Bermuda, where laws regulating the media were more strict. "I'm happy to report that my life in Bermuda has no paparazzi," Catherine told the San Francisco Chronicle in 2007. "You don't see me going shopping, don't see me picking my kids up from school." However, as Carys became a teenager, she began to put herself into the spotlight slightly more. She got an Instagram account in 2015 and began posting pictures, while sharing the odd tidbit about her life. People were delighted to see just how much she looked like her famous mother, and she racked up follower after follower. And in 2018, the 15-year-old Carys gave an interview to Town and Country, telling the world what it was like growing up with such famous parents. And she revealed that her mom and dad had tried to shield her from the more difficult aspects of stardom. But nonetheless, some problems had still leaked through. Paparazzi were a problem when the family went to New York. "I used to get really upset. They would jump on the subway and sit right in front of me," Carys told the publication. "I was, like, 6. I was confused. That's when I knew, if this is going to be what it's like, I need to focus on who I really am, and this is going to be something that's just going to happen, and I can't do anything about it." And then she explained that even school hadn't been all that easy. Despite her status as a celebrity kid, or maybe because of it, there were problems. But it was her father's age more than anything else that other kids chose to mock her about. "People would be like, 'Your grandpa's here to pick you up,'" Carys told Town and Country. The media took quite a bit of interest in this revelation. However, some online commenters on the story appeared to side more with the bullies than anything. "These older men who marry younger women never think how the vast difference in age will affect their children when they have them in their 50s and 60s. Unfortunately it does," one person wrote on the Daily Mail website. "Take note, older celebrity dads, Alec Baldwin, Jeff Goldblum, Kelsey Grammer, it's embarrassing to have a 70-year-old dad in your teens," another said. Indeed, there is quite a large club of other older celebrity fathers. Mick Jagger, for example, famously has 8 children, the youngest of which was born in 2016 at the age of 74. George Clooney became a father at 56 years of age, and Steve Martin at 67. Other online commenters were more sympathetic to what Carys had to say about her school life. "She's a little cutie pie. Why make fun of somebody because their father is old?" one person asked. "She should ignore the bullies until they decide to grow up," someone else wrote. Catherine Zeta Jones herself has spoken about how she deals with unwelcome comments about her relationship's age gap. "Historically, older men and younger women have been together," she told E! News in 2018. "When my mother was telling me about men and telling me the facts of life, she never actually put an age bracket on it. And it's so funny, because Michael and my parents are the same age. So, my parents, whenever they see us together, never even question that there is a 25-year age difference," she went on. And that's far from the first time she's mentioned it. Back in 2001 she told When, "I've never heard of a book or a law being passed that says you have to be a certain age to spend time with another person." Zeta Jones and Douglas have weathered a lot during their long relationship, including serious health problems. In 2010 news hit that Carys' father was suffering from an advanced form of cancer. Although he was lucky and radiation treatment worked out for him, it still wasn't easy for any of the family. Carys found that period difficult not just because of the illness, but because of the media intrusion. In her Town and Country interview, she explained how she broke down in a store after seeing a tabloid headline about her father. His cancer had gone into remission, but the magazine claimed it was still killing him. It was a shock to her. "There's this picture of my dad and it's like, Michael Douglas cancer again, dying in a month," she told her Town and Country interviewer. "I just started crying. I was like, why didn't my parents tell me this? Only it wasn't true. People just always want a story to tell." Zeta Jones sang the praises of her daughter during the interview. "What I instilled in my kids, and I'm very, very proud of it, is manners," she said. "There's nothing worse than a privileged kid without manners. I drilled it into them like boot camp. She knows she cannot roll her eyes at me, or huff and puff around me. Zeta Jones also chatted about Carys's sense of fashion. She has her own individual style, she told the magazine. She's modern but age-appropriate. I've never had to turn to Carys and say, I think that's a little inappropriate. According to Carys, fashion is important in her life purely because of her mother's impeccable style. Mother and daughter discussed clothes often, it turned out. Once she said, Mom, I really like this romper, Zeta Jones said. I went, but don't you think it's cut a little too long? Shouldn't it be shorter? She went, Mom, you're the only mother in the world that would tell a 15-year-old girl that the romper should be shorter. Carys also mentioned the pressures that were on her as a child of two celebrities. She had always greatly admired her parents and grandparents, but didn't yet know what she wanted to do in future. When I was younger, I didn't like the idea of having this name attached to me, this kind of Douglas dynasty stuff, she said. I think what bothers me the most is that people think I don't work hard for it, that I don't need to work hard for it, Carys continued. That anything I do gets handed to me. When, honestly, I feel like it's the opposite. I feel I need to constantly prove myself to people, that I am not just my parents' daughter. However, Carys clearly values the close relationship she has with her parents. A quick glance at her Instagram, which has some 66,000 followers, would reveal that instantly. On the joint birthday of Zeta Jones and Douglas, both of whom were born on September 25, she posted a touching Instagram message, along with a picture. Happy birthday to my beautiful parents, the people who constantly inspire me and have taught me everything I know, Carys wrote. The displayed picture was one of Zeta Jones and Douglas holding Carys and Dylan. I am in awe of both of you and the goodness you bring to the world, she continued. I love you more than you can imagine. Plenty of exciting things are now happening for the Jones-Douglas family. Dylan is currently at Brown University, an achievement his mother made a touching Instagram slideshow to celebrate. And Michael is set to appear in the mega-blockbuster Avengers: Endgame in 2019, reprising his role as Hank Pym. As for Zeta Jones, she recently filmed the Facebook Watch series Queen America, in which she played a beauty pageant coach. And earlier in 2018 she played drug baroness Griselda Blanco in the TV film Cocaine Godmother. For this role, she gained a Women's Image Awards nomination for Best Actress in a Television Movie. There's always a possibility Carys might move into acting herself. She obviously knows her way around the business, and apparently she's got the talent as well. She's appeared in a few school productions of popular musicals, including Spring Awakening and Once on This Island, and she is reportedly skilled at the piano. But she's still very young, and her parents have made sure that she's a teenager first and foremost. She's been raised to be aware of all that she has, even if school isn't always easy. My parents do a really good job of reality checking me, she told Town & Country. Being like, look around you. The life you have is extraordinary. Share and subscribe Star News 24/24's channel. Thank you for watching video.